Sixers are in their last stage of their NBA Cup break. Back on Friday. Until then, you get another 3 p.m. show here from the PHLY Sixers podcast, live from the Xfinity Lounge. It's Derek, I'm Devon, and Bree, the president of basketball operations, here with us. Kyle is on vacation. All of you in the chat, it's great to see you. We are here presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll talk a little bit later about the NBA Cup. We got to get into that. The Final Four is set for Las Vegas. Are we going to Vegas? Not going to Vegas?
For the Cup?
Yeah.
No.
Not going to Vegas?
I mean, Kyle's out there load managing during Cup season as it is. We're definitely not heading out there.
All right, we're not going to Vegas, but Vegas is all set for the Final Four. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Maybe some news and notes as well. But first, we have to talk about the evolution of one Tyrese Maxey and where he is, because the teammates are raving about him. Stories are being written about him, not just locally here at allphly.com, where, of course, we hope all of you are signed up as part of the family here, but also you see so many other different publications writing about how good Tyrese Maxey has been. I was listening to something the other day where they were asking about him being a first-team All-NBA guard, and this is a big-time conversation for the people that were talking about it. And I was like, oh, I know we've had this conversation off the air, but we were wondering, because of the Sixers record and all of that, yes, Maxey is doing all this great stuff. Is he going to be a second teamer? Is he going to be a third teamer? He's up against Cade Cunningham, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, and the whole New York piece of it. Is he even going to crack the first team All-NBA? He might. All of that. The evolution of Tyrese Maxey, where we are. And with it, the last 2 days of practice for the Sixers, now that they are gearing up to get back on the floor after these 4 days off, players speaking about him on Wednesday, Derek again at practice today, and Andre Drummond and some others speaking about Tyrese Maxey and his leadership and what he has done to keep this team afloat, with Maxey being the main guy, but George and Embiid being out, Oubre, Watford with their injuries, Dominic Barlow with his stretch of time that he missed the floor, and all he continues to do is lead the team in minutes played. Lead the league in minutes played, and then also third in the NBA in scoring. 13 wins on the season through, 23 games so far. And he has just been tremendous. So, Derek, I know I want to throw it right back to you, but at practice today, you put together the video and all of being there, and Andre Drummond spoke about Tyrese Maxey and what he has meant to the team, to the organization, to the franchise, and what he's been able to do. So let's hear from Andre Drummond. Derek can tell us what it was like at practice, and of course, what he thinks of what Drummond had to say about Maxey.
You were around Tyrese early in his career.
Right.
And now you're back here, and he's much more of a leadership figure here, especially, I guess, this season. How have you noticed his growth as a leader, even from last year to this year, or from the first time you got to know him to where he is now?
Watching the evolution of Tyrese Maxey has been a lot of fun for me. Just from being here for the few months I was here to watching him from afar while I was in Chicago. He's really become very, very enjoyable to watch. You know, just watching him, his confidence and how he wants to lead the team and take over and, help us win at a high level. And just his style of play, it makes it easy to follow a guy like that.
When you were here the first time, he was probably like 21.
Right.
Could you see the flashes of like this sort of leadership capability in him then?
I think there was so much surrounding Joel it was hard to see at the time, but, as Joel did go down, not something that we're all excited for. Tyrese got a chance to take an opportunity to showcase himself, and I think that's what happened. And it's the confidence build, the work he puts in. I come here at the same time as him, and he's already here having a full workout already. He puts the work in to be great, so it's no surprise that the success that he's having now.
No surprise from Andre Drummond. A little cloudy in the beginning just because of the Joel Embiid factor. And now that shadow is no longer looming over Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. And, of course, head on over to our YouTube page, PHLY Sports on YouTube. We post the full press conferences over there. Maybe even, I don't have the finger in front of you, maybe even hit that like button, hit thumbs up.
I got you covered there, my buddy.
There you go. Drop a comment in there.
There you go.
We post, whenever we go to games or practices, we post press conferences up there. So that will be up there shortly. No, I mean, to say that there was no surprise in him becoming like a top 10 player in the league, I think I would probably push back on that a little. But the sentiment that he is expressing, that like you could see that he was going to improve drastically with his work ethic and how seriously he approached it, I think that is, the spirit of it is true. Maybe the scope of it, the gravity of it, how incredible how much he has improved over the years. I think that would be a hard projection to make. But like I said, the general sentiment I think is 100% true. And, it was something where, like, you're scouting the draft. And quite honestly, like, I remember doing podcasts with Rich, terrible Wi-Fi and all, where we were scouting that draft. And it was a weird draft to scout because obviously it was a COVID year. You didn't have a tournament, yada, yada. But, like, we didn't even talk about Maxey because we thought he was going to be probably not a top 10 pick, but we thought he was going to be a lottery pick. And the Sixers were sitting there at 21. But every time, once they drafted him, you quickly started doing some background research on him, and everything came up so glowingly positive. Everyone that had met him, everyone that had worked with him, told you how seriously he took it, how great of a kid he was, how hard of a worker he was, that you then added that in with, I think he had some pretty good shooting indicators from high school. So even though he didn't shoot the ball well at Kentucky, you said, all right, he's probably going to shoot the ball. You don't know how quickly it's going to happen, and he had that first year where I think he shot like 29% from three as a rookie in the NBA, but you felt confident it would improve, which he needed to as a 6'2" guard. But it really was like, I think the shooting is probably a good representation of how much work he puts into it. There is a lot of other stuff that he has improved upon that is admirable, but the shooting really just comes down to reps and work and the ability to take coaching and translate that into your mechanics. And he has improved so much over the years that it is, he is one of the hardest workers you will see. He is someone who has that kind of mentality where he not only does it on the court, but he shows, he's a leader in the locker room and on the practice floor as well. It has been really fun to watch him. And you can think back to everyone, and like, I think a lot of people forget maybe how much uncertainty they had over Maxey when he came in the league, or even how much uncertainty they had after his rookie year, or even when he started breaking out next to James Harden. If you said that you saw him becoming this, I think you're not being honest with yourself. It is one, and like, I don't say that to shame anyone. I say that because when someone improves as drastically as Tyrese Maxey has, when they take the steps year after year after year that Tyrese Maxey has, your first instinct doesn't necessarily need to be, I saw this coming. This was obvious. I'm a great scout. Your first instinct should be like, man, just give that kid a lot of praise because he's put in the work to be truly great.
And we mentioned this a few weeks ago after, I believe it was the 44-point game where he missed the 2 free throws, and Paul George came out and said, you know what, I play for him and all that. Mm-hmm. And that jumped out at everyone. But even now, I remember, because we joke about, make sure you are all, signed up at allphly.com. You get the Discord and all those great things. And we joke about my presence in the Discord, right?
Once or twice,
occasionally. And it's a fun thing that we have a nice little joke in the back and forth about. But one thing that anybody knows about me is like, yeah, I'm not super active on social media and all that stuff. But I remember one time, I believe it might have been year 2, and they were in the playoffs. And that's the year that after they should have gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, losing to the Hawks. But I remember tweeting out that this guy's going to be a star. And to your point, I didn't think that when he was drafted 21st overall. I wasn't sure what he was going to be in year number 1. And for him to go on the road in game 6, I think he only scored like 12 to 16 points in that game 6, that elimination game where he helped save their season and extended to game 7 before they ultimately coughed it up coming back home. But I didn't know he was going to be this type of star. And I'm big on also in my past on the radio, and we would talk about, I remember we would do a show about superstars and franchise players. And there are very few franchise players, but there are a bunch of superstars. There are a bunch of stars in the league, certainly all-stars. And we can get into a debate about that another time. But I didn't even know if he was going to be a star. I thought he was going to be, I said it at one point in year number 2, but I wasn't sure. I thought he had a chance to be an all-star. I didn't know that he had a chance to be an all-NBA player, let alone, as Derek pointed out, a top 10 player in the NBA. Now, the record, It's not on him at 13-10, even though that's pretty good considering all the things that have gone on right now with the Philadelphia 76ers, that they have a top 10 player that's not named Joel Embiid and still 3 games over 500, played a bunch of clutch time games, have been in all these basketball games and given themselves an opportunity. We don't have to talk about All-Star because we know he's going to be there. It's just a matter of is he going to get voted in by the fans to be a starter. Who knows? We'll see how that plays out, especially with these new rules of the 2 USA teams and the 1 world team. We'll see how all that goes because Shea is essentially a world player because he's from Canada.
Yep.
So he's not going to account against the USA guards. But with all that said, he is a star in this league now. And it's unquestioned that he's a star in this league. Now it's the matter of where can they go with him as the face? Let's go back to last year, everybody, when we were wearing tank helmets. Before we started donning the tank helmets, we were in October and November, the first month of the season, middle of December, where we're saying, where's Tyrese Maxey? He's playing, but he's not doing what he needs to do to help this team right now because Embiid and George were not on the floor. And even when George was on the floor, we weren't seeing that Tyrese Maxey that we're seeing right now. We saw that at the end of December where he said he had basically had enough. He recognized the defensive coverages. He wasn't prepared for it as much as he should have been after he started seeing them in the beginning of the season. And that, as a result, we saw what we saw in losses and the numbers that he went out there on the floor and posted. It wasn't good enough. This is a different kind of guy right now, a totally different player. And Derek, he is the star in this league now. When you talk about a top 10 player, again, we can get into the whole superstar, and he is the franchise player in the sense of he is the franchise player because Joel Embiid is no longer that. They're probably going to build around Maxey and Edgecombe as they go forward. He is a bona fide star in this league, and it is great to see him from that kid that came from Kentucky, crying on draft night that everybody made fun of because he had like that squeaking noise because he was so happy and he was celebratory while he was crying and celebrating with his family, to going out there, dropping that game 6 point total on the road in Atlanta to help them force a game 7, and then be the running mate for Embiid, be the running mate along with James Harden, learning from James Harden, being the running mate for Embiid again, and then turning it into, I have to be the one that has to speak up vocally because I don't like the tardiness that's going on. I have to be the one to speak up. And while I'm doing so, I'm gaining the respect of my veteran teammates. I'm getting a Maxey Museum. Who saw that coming where Joel Embiid is the one that is there to help celebrate the new contract of the franchise player. And then this season come in and talk about how this is the new standard, setting the tone for what the season is going to be. And while we have been frustrated in a lot of these games, they're still 13-10. They're right there in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference from 4 on down. And he is the main part of it.
Yeah. And for years, we used to sit here and like obsess over the on-off splits with Joel Embiid and how much they would crater every time he went to the bench. And throughout most of the season, that's been true of Maxey. You know, they are 11 points per 100 possessions better when Maxey is on the floor. They have a negative 8.6 net rating when he is on the bench. And quite frankly, that's even with, like, they have guards that we hoped would be able to carry some of that burden. Now, look, Jared McCain was out for a while, came back, wasn't himself, took him a while to get going. Hopefully that will help, you know, arrest some of those problems. But this was a squad where theoretically they should be able to run their offense or design offenses that don't rely on Maxey to be out there 48 minutes per night. Well, I mean, Nick hasn't been relying on him for 48 minutes per night, but it darn well feels close because every time he goes to the bench, you don't know how they're going to tread water. He has been the engine that has stirred the Sixers offense. He's improved in almost every capacity, and he has made everyone's job easier when he is on the floor with them. It is, you know, I still would like for him to sit more than he is, like for him to be pushing 40 minutes per game, 23 games into the season. I worry about him wearing down quite a bit. But even when you think back to, you know, you mentioned like, you know, the All-Star appearance. You think back to where we were last year, where they couldn't create winning offense with him on the floor and without Joel Embiid on the floor. And look, I think if you go back and listen to what this panel said, we really emphasized, hey, he's playing with a lot of slop out there. Like, of course, you're not going to have great offense when Kelly Oubre is your second best player. Of course, you're not going to have great offense when you're running out center lineups of Andre Drummond and Dembona. There was just a lot of in and out of the lineup and a lot of talent that was out of the lineup and not alongside of him. Let's see how this looks. I think we preached that and we really tried to hammer that home, but I would be lying if I said we all expected this kind of explosion. Like, it's one thing to say, okay, you can't hold what happened last year against him. It's another thing to truly believe he is going to be a number one option, and I'm confident in that. So again, I go back to, I give him a lot of credit for improving each and every summer. You know, he has that mantra of 1% better every day. I tend to hear those kind of phrases and roll my eyes at times because a lot of people say it. Very few people actually live up to it. He has lived up to it, and I think it shows on the court.
And on our chat here, Ron has a question about Maxey and the All-NBA. Ron, hang on. We'll answer that question when we get back. We're going to take our first pause. We'll answer Ron's question. We have a big takeaway that we need to get into and so much more as the Sixers have a game. Yes, long break. They have a game tomorrow, everybody. They take on the Indiana Pacers, the 6-win Indiana Pacers. You don't want to get clipped by them, even though they still have pretty good talent, very well coached and all. They can get you. You don't want them to get you, though. You want to improve to 14-10. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But Tyrese Maxey, the evolution, where things have gone. The teammates are raving about him in the midst of a 13-10 season, an all-star appearance on the way once again. And maybe All-NBA. We'll answer Ron's question. Big takeaway when we get back is the PHLY Sixers podcast here on a Thursday.
Guys, the other day I was over at my friend Rich Hoffman's house. Great guy, terrible setup. We're huddled in his living room around his tiny CRT TV. It was an absolute disaster. It was lagging, buffering, switching between apps and tablets, trying to find a reasonable way to watch a game. It just wasn't working. See, if you call yourself a basketball fan, you have to have Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination where you can find the best games and your favorite teams all in one place. The way that you watch is next level. Got all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. It's so clear it feels like you're in the arena. On top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-viewer requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
All right, gang, we are exactly 2 weeks away from the big day where the gift giving happens, and you want to make sure that you gave out the best gift where everyone's talking about it, and that is with Aura Frames. If anyone's still hunting for the right gift, Aura Frames makes it look like you planned it all along. Listen, you've given out plenty of gifts, but nothing is as big as this where you get to have these great photos, unlimited photos, and video. Just download the Aura app and connect to Wi-Fi. You preload photos before it ships, keep adding from anywhere, and you even get to do that straight from your phone all year long. Now I'm going to tell you, for a limited time, you get to save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. By using promo code PHLY at checkout, that's auraframes.com, promo code PHLY. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames, they do sell out fast, so order yours now to get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout, and make sure you check it out. Terms and conditions do apply. Welcome back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Derek, Devon, Bree, all of you, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you hit the like button, like and subscribe there on the show. Tell a friend to tell another friend while you're out shopping. You're listening to us while you're walking around the mall to the next store, shuffling along to the next store. Maybe you're dragged into a store you don't want to be in and you're watching us. And they're like, somebody walks by and they're like, what you watching over there? What is that? It's a little PHLY Sixers podcast. Go check it out. Make sure you do that. Hit the like button while you're in here as well. All right, Roy is asking the question of Maxey being in an All-NBA play. Does Maxey make first-team All-NBA if the Sixers have a losing record? Derek, so right now,
No.
I think he's in the – if we are like done at 23 games, is he a first-team All-NBA guy for you?
So just as a reminder, All-NBA doesn't care about positions anymore.
Right.
So you don't like where is he among the guard players? It's just not relevant.
Doesn't have to have a center. You don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So, but with the guards, because Roy does follow up with something, because I responded to him, he said that's a tall task for him to be first team, because if the Sixers end up with the losing record, you have Mitchell, Brunson, Cade. These teams have winning records, not including Luka and Edwards on the other side, with Shea, obviously, And that will be tough, thinking about that without winning. So 23 games right now. Would you have him first, second, third team right now? And remember, games played. Luka's missed some games.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
No. Again, I think when you start talking about like first team All NBA, part of that's also going to be like, and Kyle brings this up with MVP all the time, like who has defined the season? And it's impossible to define the season when you're on a losing team, which doesn't mean he's not going to make an All NBA team, but to be like one of those first 5 names that come to the top of mind, like when you're talking about Shea, when you're talking about Luka, when you're talking about Giannis, although he's missing time, when you're talking about Jokic, they're just like there's 4 spots, assuming they all play enough games, that are going to come to top of mind every time before Tyrese. So you're really down to one final spot on the roster. And if you have a losing record, I would be surprised, again, if Tyrese is a name that people think of when they think 2025-26 NBA season.
If they do make the playoffs, top six.
Even Cade, like throw Cade in there just because they're winning all those
100%.
games. Yeah.
And they're first
that would
in the
be
East.
the 5th, yeah.
Yeah, they're first in the East. So he's the one that's going to take that Tatum spot that we asked that question before the season. It would be Cade Cunningham. I thought it would be Jalen Brunson. Jalen missed a couple of games, but he has been back and he's playing. Then you got the New York factor when it comes to all of that. So it is going to be tough. Ron, I agree. I do think he makes one of them in the end. Yep. I do think he makes one, and that was always my thing, second or third team. And that's just also looking at the voters saying it's not his fault.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, Paul George, not out there on the floor, other injuries. It's not his fault. He's done everything from the 40 minutes a night. Hopefully that's not 40 minutes a night by the end of the 82-game schedule going into the playoffs. And still at the top of the conference, top of the NBA in scoring. They're going to reward him. It just may not be at the number 1 team spot.
No, when you start talking about like the top 5 players in the NBA, like a lot of those resumes are borderline unassailable. Like there's no flaws to pick from. There might be games missed when we're talking about with these top 5, but other than that, they play on winning teams. They generally play two-way basketball. They're generally efficient and really good at making their teammates better. It's real tough to crack that if you have a hole in the armor. And if you're on a losing team, that's a pretty big gaping hole. So I think first team is tough, but once you start getting into that 6 through 15 range of players that define a season, then all of a sudden the resumes aren't perfect. You're willing to allow some imperfection. And that's when you start, like, if Maxey's only imperfection, if he's playing every night, he's playing almost the whole game every game, if he's scoring and doing so efficiently, having a career year, creating for his teammates, then you go like, okay, that all sounds great. The imperfection is something that's not completely in his control.
Exactly.
I'm 100% okay putting him on the second team and third team. And quite frankly, if the year ended today and he didn't make a second or third team All NBA, I think you would have a reason to be up in arms about it.
Yep. And just another name that SB Cole brings up that I was thinking about, didn't say it yet, Jaylen Brown. Well, also because of what he has done to turn things around.
And Jalen Johnson, too. He's been incredible.
Yeah, but I was just thinking guards. But to your point, yes.
You got to stop thinking about guards, Devon. They don't care.
Guards, yes. And SB Cole brings up Jalen Johnson in there as well because he's clearly an all-star. Mm-hmm. Just a matter of where he ends up in the end.
And even but he's bringing up Jaylen Brown, too. Like, I did not expect them to be this good offensively.
No.
Like, not at all. Mm-hmm. And when something like that happens where they're completely overshooting what you expect, he's having darn near 30 points per game.
Yep.
You have to give him a lot of credit for that. And even as a distributor, like early in his career, he did not pass at all. He was put his head down, barrel to the rim, or pull up for a jumper, no passing at all. He has grown as a playmaker. If they continue this, they're like a top
5
offense, I think, right now. 4th in the league offensively.
Yeah.
If they continue this, like he's going to get a lot of buzz for that too.
No question about it. Absolutely. So we'll see how it all plays out. Great question, Ron. I like the fact that we're having the conversation though, because that's how good he has been.
Yeah.
That's it.
I generally
That's how good he's been.
I don't tend to get up in arms about these awards, whether it's MVP or whether it is All NBA, because I don't really care. I think the players care, and because of that, I kind of care by proxy a little bit. But I just care that Tyrese Maxey has developed enough where he's in this conversation and playing at this level, because that's what impacts team winning, right? It doesn't, it might weirdly, in a way, impact, not Tyrese, because he just signed a deal, but future earning potential, because they tie earning potential to these awards, which is crazy and I don't think should happen. Yeah. So it's a big deal for him, #big deal. I just want somebody that you can truly build around, that's grown enough where he has all of these different ways to impact the game. And when you get to this level, you have to impact the game in so many different ways. You know, you have to be a high-level scorer. You have to be an efficient scorer. You have to create for your teammates. And quite frankly, you have to where you're not a target. Like, I think that's a lot of, why a lot of people kind of fade Trae Young is because he might be the worst defender in the league.
Yeah.
And as good as he's on one side of the court, he could give you 25 points and 10 assists. Well, he might give 20 points back on the other end. The net isn't as much as you would want. Tyrese, I think, and I saw our boy Vinny in the chat earlier mentioning this, I think Tyrese has improved to the point where he is at least a neutral defender. He might even be a slight positive. If he's not a positive, it's just because he has such a huge workload on offense that it's tough to really have that kind of energy. But even still, you see him, I think the effort is pretty consistent. You see these incredible effort plays and energy plays like the block to save the game the other day. He has improved to the point defensively where it's just he has a very well-rounded impact on the game of basketball right now.
And he hasn't quite yet mastered the Iverson jump the lane steals, the pick sixes.
Although I think he's actually
getting there.
Nick talked about that today. I think he does lead the league in pick sixes right now.
He may lead the league, but it's not Iverson like.
No, well, I mean, remember that game he had 10 steals in was it a playoff game? Orlando,
it was
yeah.
against Orlando. I was there that day.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. But I wonder, and it's funny, but you bring that up about Nick Nurse saying he leads the league, and that I haven't been there, and I know you guys are there asking a ton of questions. I'm curious to know, is this something that they've been like, hey, go for it. You got the green light. If you see it, go.
It's weird because on the one hand, I feel like most of the team is less aggressive than they have been in previous Nick Nurse years. And I think part of that is that you just don't have the confidence in your backline defense like you previously did. Like it's one thing to gamble. You have to have that shot blocker at the rim to, clean up if you don't get that, if you take that gamble and don't get all the way home. I think Tyrese is just more confident in his, ability to diagnose that and to read it and get a good early quick read on it. And obviously he is a top 1% athlete. So once he gets that recognition and starts making those breaks, I think he's been more aggressive in that. And I agree with your point. I think he can continue to get better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, number one, he has the speed. So that's number one. Then he has the defensive instincts, as you pointed out. He cares. Where, not saying that he didn't care before, but we just saw that there would be issues in the past with his defense. Now, when he takes that gamble, sometimes we're sitting here and I'm like, nah, I don't do that one. But others, you see it. It's a gamble. Mm-hmm. I mean, so I get it. When you say gamble, that's exactly what it is of sometimes you're going to get them, sometimes you're going to get beat on it. And he's gotten beat a few times, but to Nick Nurse's point, he thinks he has the most pick sixes in the NBA, and that's pretty darn good. So with the effort he gives in the half court, and then you incorporate that with the pick sixes when he's taking those gambles for those steals, look, the half court defense isn't all that great. It's just okay. So a few of those gambles where he feels like he may have it, I'm all right with that because that's just simply saying, hey, I'm going to get this and I'm going to go the other way and I'm going to get his 2 points.
Yep.
Just bottom line. And my teammate's going to have my back. I may recover quickly enough too where I can get back into the play where I'm not really hurting us in that sense.
My only real nitpick, because I think he's bought in a way that he certainly bought in more than he was earlier in his career. And I think he took some of that criticism to heart. My only real complaint, and it's a small one, but sometimes getting back in transition, I would love it if he didn't argue for fouls quite as much. He took a lot from James Harden, right? He took the step back from James Harden. He took the pocket pass from James Harden. I didn't need him to take the whining to refs in the middle of a play from James Harden. But like I said, his effort level is otherwise so incredible that you were willing to live with that. But this team just sucks so bad in transition. It would be great if he could argue with the refs when a play stops. You can do that.
Play stops. Argue. Then you get the next call. Don't worry about it. I thought he was going to get it. I thought he was going to get thrown out.
Oh, he was close. He was joking after games like, no, I was just smiling and happy. It's like, Tyrese, we have eyes. You were not happy.
Because we were sitting here, we're like, all right, get the tech. That's fine. We see it. It's brewing. Just get it. Deal with it. You already have a lead. It's not going to destroy you. Let Nick Nurse continue arguing, and then you get back and just go nuts because you're ticked off at the official.
That's what coaches are for. Let coaches argue.
Yeah, you get one. He gets one.
Yeah.
2 points. No problem. Now go off and close this thing out and get this over with. Tyrese Maxey, just been fantastic. Again, thanks for the question, Ron. That was a good question. All right, we will have the big deal when we get back. We'll talk about the big deal. I do have one more Tyrese Maxey question for Derek and all of you, and then we'll get into a few other things from practice with the practice notes with Derek being there. Today it's the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Thursday, presented by Bet365. All right, big Thursday night football game going on, everybody, and that is between Atlanta and Tampa, and that's at Bet365, where you get to place your wagers, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Taking a quick peek at my app, and you get a 50% super profit boost at Bet365 on the same game parlay with Atlanta and Tampa Bay. So you also get on Thursday Night Football a $10 safety net bet. That's all at Bet365 right now, where you jump in. Please let you know, Thursdays you get the never ordinary at Bet365 Thursday night touchdown offer, where you place a qualifying bet totaling $20 or more on tonight's game, and you get bonus bets for every touchdown. Terms and conditions to apply. Breaking news for everyone at Bet365. If you want to jump in, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. That's win or lose, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, do you really want Andre Drummond shooting threes?
No.
Maybe. Do you want him shooting above the break threes? Absolutely not. So you have to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. And the same goes for your business. Togo can help any business looking to streamline operations become more efficient or unlock more time for their best people. From customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, data entry, and even complex multi-step operational processes, Togo takes it off your plate at a fraction of the cost. Every engagement starts with free process mapping and engineering. Togo doesn't bill a dime until the real work begins, with programs starting as low as $1,000 per month. You're not going to break the bank. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, you call the plays, we execute. Visit harnesstogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning.
And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, hanging out with you on a Thursday. Sixers Pacers at home tomorrow night, Friday night, as they come back for a quick 2 and then more days off during the NBA Cup. We'll talk about the NBA Cup. Guess what? When? Now, right here on the big deal presented by Cherry Hill Mitsubishi. I know people buy Cherry Hill, buy Mitsubishis elsewhere, Derek. Don't know why. Don't know why. Make sure you visit everybody at cherryhillmitsubishi.com. The Final Four is set for the NBA Cup. The Sixers don't care to play in the NBA Cup and allow us to go to Las Vegas. But the Los Angeles Lakers got knocked off last night by the San Antonio Spurs. It was a good game. No Victor Wembanyama, but they still win the game. They move on to play the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then the Orlando Magic took care of business on night 1 on Tuesday. The New York Knicks also winning. No, that was on Monday. And then the Knicks also played on Tuesday. Knicks advancing to Las Vegas. So it's Magic, Knicks, Spurs, Thunder. Let's start with the Thunder, man. Last night, they took on the Phoenix Suns. Nice story, right?
Sure.
No Booker, not playing. Colin Gillespie. We tried to tell y'all out there in Denver he could play, and y'all let him go. They got rocked.
Yeah.
First quarter, it was over. They got rocked. Their defense was so good last night in that first quarter, and they just never looked back, and it was done by the third quarter.
Yeah. No, look, the Thunder are comical at this stage.
It's
like
ridiculous.
Their defense is just so dialed in. Their team is so deep. Shea has evolved so much that, like, I don't ever expect them to lose. And I understand they will lose. I'm not calling 81-1, but, like, on any given night, they just seem like the easiest lock in the league. It is this almost like, look, the Warriors back when they had their 73-9 season were incredible to watch. So fun. You know, they started off the season 29-1, I believe it was. So the Thunder have a little bit of work to do before they get there. And I think the Warriors of that era were drastically underrated defensively. Like, they were a very good defensive team. They were top 5 pretty much every year in defense during their heyday, but they weren't like this level defensively. This is like best in the history of the sport, or at least a contender for best in the history of the sport level defense. And then you throw in all the offensive firepower that you have, and then you add in the MVP. in Shea, and then you add in all of the depth. Like, they really are built to withstand having missed, they can miss a couple of key players out any given night and still be virtually unbeatable. If you're asking me, like, who's going to win the cup, I'm going to go with the team that never loses.
Oh, they're going to lose when they get to the finals. But I'm not going to say what team is going to beat them. That said, man,
are you wearing their colors right now?
A little bit. Man, are they good. They're so good. And even when you have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander missing time, Jalen Williams certainly coming back, he hasn't even really hit his stride yet. Lou Dort didn't play. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't play.
Well, at least they're out of draft picks and have nothing to build with going forward.
Nothing to build on. Isaiah
might have
Joe,
4 first-round picks this year, 3 lottery potential picks.
Isaiah Joe didn't play in the game last night. They just go out there and when they turn up that defense, man, they shut you down. I saw them, and look, we just talked about how good Colin Gillespie is, and you root for your local guys and all, and you see how things went in Denver, and now Phoenix is starting to give him his time. He's been on a heater, right? He's taking these off-balance shots because he has to get the shot up really fast, pull up in transition from way behind the three-point line because you just need to get a shot off and get a decent possession. They're just cutting everything off. They're switching. The hands are fast. Kason Wallace looks like the All-NBA defender, right, that you think he might be. A.J. Mitchell can defend. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander can defend. All of these players are out there. It's so fun to watch, man. Portland beat them as the only team that defeated them this season. Yeah. And look, Portland is an entertaining team. They're fun. They've been all right. But for them to be the one team that knocked them off, when we look at that and say, I mean, they're just so good. So look, Spurs, I don't know what the Spurs are going to have, but it's going to be a tough out. And it's going to be a really tough out. It's going to be a tough out when they play in the final against whomever. And last night after the game, when they were asked about Shea Gilgeous, he was interviewed, and they were asked about what do you learn from last year going into the Cup and all that. And he said, you know what? Well, we're just a little bit better than we were last year. Go figure.
Well, that's the thing. They're still learning how to play with each other.
Go figure.
So, mention that they're the best defense in the league.
Oh, my gosh.
Underselling it a tiny bit. Do you know what the gap is between the best defense in the league and the second best defenses in the league?
Points
per 100 possessions.
100 separation by points. I would say 15 points.
No, not quite that much. They are 7.2 points per 100 possessions.
That's
better.
See, that's how good I thought they.
But that's then the second best defense in the league. Like the Houston Rockets, great defensive team.
Yes, they are.
They're not even in the same neighborhood as the Thunder. So the difference between first and second in defense is the same as the difference between second and 24th. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. They're really good. All right, on the other side, it is Orlando and New York. Franz is out because of the high ankle sprain. I was watching that game when it happened. I'm glad it wasn't too severe because it looked bad. I thought it was going to be his knee, but it was only his ankle, and it's a high ankle sprain. It was going to keep him out a while, so tough break for them, but they found a way to advance. They beat, they beat. I think who was it? Atlanta that they played. And they moved on, and they were going to play the Knicks. And
So Devon, I have 2 rules.
Mm-hmm.
When your family's in a playoff series, not against the Sixers, I root for them.
Thank you.
But I do not root for those stinking Knicks any second before that time. I will never root for them in any cup or regular season matchup. Let's go Magic.
What about the extra, the bonus that they get?
Your cousin's doing okay. I'm not worried about that.
Tyler Kolek could use a little bonus. Tyler
Kolek.
So
can role players on the Magic, too.
I'm not worried about
I'm not rooting for no darn Knicks. No way.
Yeah. Well,
it's not my fault your cousin's a traitor.
They traded him. So there's that. But we're going to the game, right? We leave Friday after the Sixers game. We're going out there. Yeah. So we'll be back on Sunday for the game. So a quick turnaround for us as we go out to Las Vegas and watch Kale the Knicks take down the Magic and get ready. And then we'll go back on Monday for the championship game as well. So that is the big deal, the NBA Cup, which the Sixers do not care about, clearly, presented by the...
Neither does Kyle. He's halfway across the world.
Yeah, he didn't care. Presented by Cherry Hill Mitsubishi. Once again, I know people buy Mitsubishis elsewhere, Derek.
Just don't know why.
Don't know why. Make sure you visit them at cherryhillmitsubishi.com. All right, when we come back, my final question for Tyrese Maxey, about Tyrese Maxey.
For Tyrese Maxey, he's here?
He's right over my shoulder, right here to my left, hanging out with us here during the show. We still got to put the show together because he wants to be a part of the Marvel draft.
He did. He did say that.
So we have to put that together. We can either go to the practice facility and do this, or he can come in the studio. We're not doing any Zoom. He's got to come in and hang out with us and chill with us. We all know him well enough where he could do that for us, right, everybody? Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, when we come back, last Tyrese Maxey question, notes from practice, and maybe some news and notes as well right here on this Thursday. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, you've seen us wear it on the show, the green PHLY hat. It's absolutely incredible from Branded Bills. It is comfortable, it is flexible, it is stylish. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, filteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. If you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. They have partnership with Penn State as a part of their campus collection. Head to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHLY for 15% off your first order.
And with the holiday season here, everyone, driving around, quite a bit of people. You want to drive and make sure you're in style. You can take these long trips to do whatever you need, shopping, visiting family. And here's a fact that shocked me. Mitsubishi of Cherry Hill. Mitsubishi, yes, the Mitsubishi Motors is #1 in customer service satisfaction with dealer services among mainstream brands and SUV owners. That's not me saying it either. That's J.D. Power speaking for me. If you're looking for the most affordable 7-passenger SUV in America, CherryHillMitsubishi.com has you covered with the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. Take advantage of year-end sales events and drive home in a new Mitsubishi with rates as low as 0% for 60 months, up to $2,500 off of MSRP and America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, and 2 years of free maintenance on a new Mitsubishi. Everyone loves free maintenance. There has never been a better time to take home the Mitsubishi of your dreams. The choice is yours. Located a few minutes from all the bridges. Stop in today or check them out online at CherryHillMitsubishi.com and find out how easy it is to do business with Cherry Hill Mitsubishi. I know people buy Mitsubishis elsewhere, Derek.
Just don't know why, Devon.
Neither do I. I just don't know why. Make sure you check them out, CherryHillMitsubishi.com. And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Tyrese Maxey, Derek, my last question for you. We figure it's going to be he and Edgecombe long term. We'll see who else sticks around from this current group. But if there's one area of this team where you feel like they could upgrade, where would that be? Is that with simply Watford, Oubre coming back?
So we're talking like short term here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the season.
Then yeah, I think another big wing, whether that is a 3 or a 4, but someone in the Paul George mold who can, really shoot off ball, maybe handle it a little bit, hold his own on defense, contribute on the glass, even if he's probably not going to control the glass. I think that is still the area that they need the most. You would like a Dominic Barlow who could shoot and dribble. I think that's probably what you're looking for. And look, a Dominic Barlow who can shoot and dribble is a very valued commodity in today's NBA. You're not going to be able to, if Dominic Barlow could shoot, you don't get him for a two-way contract. You don't get him for a minimum contract if you do eventually want to convert someone like that. Any kind of shooting certainty results in a player that gets paid many, many millions of dollars per year. And the Sixers right now do not have the ability, so it's going to be tough. And really, the Sixers, because of their lack of tradable contracts, thank you, ducking the tax, it's going to be real tough to them to be aggressive at the trade deadline, too. This is especially as Drummond continues to show that you need him more and more and more. Kelly obviously was really, really good to start the year. It would have to be a pretty substantial upgrade to make you consider it. It'll be really interesting what they do. And even going longer term, I think that kind of a apex two-way wing is what you really want to focus on. Like that is when you start talking about building out a two-way team, a team that can really defend at a high level, that can maybe switch a little more on the perimeter, at least maybe 2 through 4 switching. That is the long-term spot that they don't have locked down. Like they've got, VJ as an off-ball guard locked down pretty long-term. McCain kind of as that 6-man, if he can get to the point where he can play alongside of Maxey, that's locked down pretty long-term. You need, that 3 or that 4, and Embiid is locked down long-term because he's immovable. You can't really get out of that contract. Although you'd love someone a little younger than Drummond to eventually be that backup and that spot starter, you're not going to invest heavy resources in that. So it really is to be targeting that 3-4 forward who can be a two-way player, who can shoot, who can handle a little bit. I think that's really what you look for going forward.
Yep. All right. I was just curious because we were talking about Oubre a lot the other day during the post-game show and how they missed him in that Lakers game and what he could have been able to add both offensively and defensively. Whenever he does come back, he'll be a big help. Trendon Watford, certainly, and whatever you get from Paul George and Joel Embiid, hopefully that's just nothing more positives than negatives when it comes to those two guys. All right, you were at practice today. They had practice yesterday as well. So what anything stand out outside of the Andre Drummond side of things where we played the audio a little bit earlier? Anything else?
I wouldn't say a whole lot stood out. I think probably the biggest news item from practice is that Trendon Watford and Kelly Oubre are still not practicing. They're doing some individualized workouts, but nothing with the team. That is of note because it was a week ago today that the Sixers said that Oubre would be reevaluated in a week. All they've said to this point is that both are progressing. They're not even really giving you any details of that progression. So it sounds like we still have a little bit of time. But if you were expecting Kelly or Watford to be right around the corner, it doesn't seem like that is the case because they haven't even gotten back fully on the court.
Interesting. Which
it is like, Watford has been a little bit up and down in his play. Obviously, he's been in that lineup as seemingly everyone is, but it seems like whenever he gets going, he's out of the lineup again. I'd love to see him be able to get more minutes, get a little more comfort with the team. He is a player with a very unique skill set that you really have to maximize that passing for him to be like a plus player on the floor. I honestly thought he was integrated offensively quicker than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. As a sort of like playmaking, but sub-elite athlete, especially by NBA standards, forward, like that's a little bit of a tricky fit. I think that they did a good job of, getting him into lineups that they could utilize that. But you'd like to see that enhanced more and more and more. And I certainly think as he builds up chemistry with Tyrese, with Jared, who he really hasn't played with a whole bunch, his skill set has a chance to be useful, which better be because his defense is pretty bad and you need him to contribute offensively. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him come back, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime soon. Or at least not imminent.
I miss Kelly Oubre. Just saying. They could use his defensive help. Paul George was talking about teaming up with Kelly Oubre defensively at yesterday's availability.
Against the Lakers, they really could have used
They could have used him badly. I mean, and I know Bree cut it up and she made it into a VOD for a quick video for us at PHLY_Sixers on Twitter because that's how important. You can see it, how glaring it was when you have 3 guys that can score on the perimeter in the way that the Lakers did in that game on Sunday. While Austin Reeves didn't have it that day, he only had 11 points. He's still Austin Reeves, and he's still pretty good. But LeBron James had it going on. Luka Doncic, and you're left with VJ Edgecombe, certainly, along with Dominic Barlow. You needed a veteran defender against one of them. Kelly Oubre might have gotten in foul trouble. He was certainly going to get scored on. But when you look at the outside shooting even just as a threat of doing that and putting the ball on the floor versus Dominic Barlow as a non-threat and putting the ball on the floor as a non-threat, could have used Kelly Oubre in that role against the Los Angeles Lakers. They miss Kelly Oubre, and it's crazy that you can now with him being out for this extended period of time. He is one that you've always been able to count on. I don't know where Phil W is, but he's going to cut this and send it to the Sixers for their contract negotiations.
He is coming up as a free agent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Phil, you got some work to do, buddy.
You got some work to do.
What is Kelly, 29?
29, 30? Did he reach 30 already?
I don't know.
I don't know. But you can see where they miss him. You see
he turned 30 2 days ago. I feel like we probably should have realized that.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Happy birthday, Kelly Oubre. You can see where he's missed.
Yeah.
You can see
100%.
where he's missed.
100%.
Yeah.
He really has been one of the more consistent, versatile, better point of attack defenders on the team for a couple of years running now. They absolutely need him.
Yeah. You could see it, man. Just they miss Kelly Oubre, and they need him back out there on the floor. So hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. And look, they only have 4 games over the next week between Friday and Sunday. They have 4 days off again, and then they're back at it on Friday and Saturday of the following week. So over this next 7-8 days, they're going to play four games over that stretch. We're used to about 6 games in the course of 8 days, and they get a nice little break. So hopefully he's not missing that much more time, and there's some winnable basketball games in there.
It really is. And Drummond brought this up, and again, you can go to our PHLY Sports YouTube page and check that out. We will post the video. But he was directly asked, like, do you like this break in schedule? And he was like, no, not at all. It's really just it's going
Screws up the
from
flow.
playing 3 to 4 games a week to like having 4 days off 2 weeks in a row. Basketball players are very based on rhythm. They're very based on, having a consistent schedule and cadence to their day. And it's like, now you're sitting here with 4 days off in a row and you're trying to balance like, well, I have to do work to make sure that I am, still in shape and still good to go when the play returns. But I don't want to overwork it because I need to get my legs back, especially for someone like Tyrese or VJ who are playing such heavy minutes, or even someone like Drummond, quite frankly, because even before coming to the Sixers, he had been a bench player for a couple of years. Obviously didn't play a ton last year because of injury. So now he's playing more minutes than he probably has in quite a while. You need to get your legs back, but you also, you can't completely lose what you were doing before. It's a real tough balancing act. It is like a mini all-star break. And you're having that 2 weeks in a row it's strange. It's very strange.
It is. By the way, just standings wise, Sixers are right now in 6th place. They are tied currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, and the Atlanta Hawks, all 5.5 games back of first place. They're all half game back of the Toronto Raptors, who have lost 4 in a row, and they're sitting at 15 and 11. And 1 game back of the Orlando Magic, who, as we know, are playing in the NBA Cup currently. So Sixers, again, right there in the thick of things with everyone. Outside of Detroit, New York, and Boston's 5-9. So it's, a game and a half separates them.
There are 7 teams between 13 and 15 wins in the Eastern Conference.
They're right there, man. Yep. They're still right there in the thick of things. So as that, Orlando and New York, they're playing in the Cup. That starts on Saturday. Indiana coming into town tomorrow. Derek's first time we get to see the Pacers. No Tyrese Halliburton. Miles Turner is now in Milwaukee. We've seen him twice already. 6-18. They're the 2nd worst team in the Eastern Conference, right there with the Brooklyn Nets. Washington 3-19. What are you looking for tomorrow after this long break?
I'm curious who's playing. I'm hoping
everyone should play.
Everyone that you expect.
It's
4 days off.
Yes.
But that is the first question I have for pretty much every game that the Sixers play. And look, this is a team in Indy who really struggles to score. And this is a Sixers team who at times, I think they're right up around league average in defense. It doesn't always feel that way. There we go. It doesn't always feel that way. I would love to see a dominant defensive performance. We just haven't had all that many of them. I want to see them force turnovers. I want to see them protect the rim. I want to see them get out on the break. Those kind of things that come and go, I think that would be great to see. And I want to see Joel Embiid's mobility. And that's going to be the key for, I feel like we're going to focus on that every game and key in on that every game. But how does he look after this time off? He's obviously, in order to play, he needs 2 days off between games. Well, he's got 4 of them. Does he have a little bit extra energy? Has he, maybe learned anything about his body and his limitations that he can translate to on the floor? Joel Embiid is always going to be front of mind.
3-2, as Bree put that graphic up there. Both teams 3-2 in their last 5. Derek, the numbers are pretty much identical everywhere, except for the 3-point percentage where you see that it's 39.3% versus 33.5% in favor of the Pacers. True shooting percentage, but the turnovers are the same. And when you say this team can't really score, that hasn't been the Pacers the last couple of years, led by Tyrese Halliburton. But guess what? Tyrese Halliburton is not there, so you see where the struggles are. They still do have Pascal Siakam, and they have Nembhard and Mathurin. They can score. They can go off. But Derek's right. they should win.
Well,
Sixers.
and what they do, they just don't get out on a break like they
Not
did
like
in
they
previous
used to.
years. Like Tyrese Halliburton was absolutely crucial in them getting out in transition, getting out in early offenses, having mismatches that they could attack. And they obviously, with his absence, don't get that nearly as much.
All right, 4 games in the association back tonight from the Cup. Little Cup break. Teams get back on the floor. You got 4 in action tonight, 3 to 8 o'clock games, 1 10 o'clock game. So we're presented by Bet365. If you want to place your wagers and put together a same-game parlay, make sure you do that as a new customer when you sign up using the code PHLY365. Deposit 10, place a bet for 5. You get $150 in bonus bets. That's win or lose. And you can also include that with the Thursday night football game. Big game, Tampa and Atlanta. At least an entertaining game it should be between Tampa and Atlanta tonight for the Thursday night football game. All right, let's get ready to give a little news and notes. We haven't done this in a while, man. Little news and notes. Bree and I have been sitting on this one for a while. We said we'll wait for a 3 p.m. show, obviously. And boy, Derek, do we have one for you with this one. Bree, let's give it. I don't know if Derek saw this.
I have seen this, yes.
Everybody, I don't know if you've seen this. It's Derek's spirit animal. So, if you're seeing it, it's a raccoon getting drunk at a Virginia liquor store after he broke in the liquor store, trashes the place, drinks all the alcohol, passes out in the bathroom. Derek, your thoughts?
I mean, look, I'm not going to begrudge anyone for living their best life and enjoying life. You go.
I was rolling when I saw this. Me and Bree were cracking up when we saw this. And we said, yeah, this has to be a news and notes. That raccoon broke into the store and got wasted and passed out in the bathroom. And you know, you worry, you call animal control.
Can you imagine, like, if you walk in there, and first of all, like, you jump back,
yeah,
and you don't know how he's going to react, because every now and then they can be aggressive when cornered, and then you're like, huh, he's not reacting to me at all.
Moving.
You get like a stick, you start poking him, he's like completely zonked out. You think he's dead, and then like you hear him snoring because he's drunk and hungover.
Oh, the easiest work the animal control had to do. We saw some other photos, some other videos of the after effects. Not just that when it passed out in the bathroom, but you saw the damage done to the liquor aisle and them in the bathroom. Just funny stuff. Had to be done on news and notes.
It's weird because I feel like a lot of animals, like I know, like cats, when they react to like liquor, like they like absolutely back off from it. So like I feel like a lot of animals don't react, like don't pursue that. Yeah, I wonder if he's like had a taste before and he's like, man, I gotta get back in on this action.
He had a busy week. Yeah. Marcus Blackstock said he was stressed. He had a plan.
He had to put up with his family during the holidays. Yeah. He just needed some time off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So shout out to the raccoon. Raccoon DPO says he asked for a fountain soda. Marcus Blackstock said it had to be done. And Jess says that's her after 8 surf sides with the laughing emoji. So there's that. So that's our news and notes. Funny stuff. Great job, Bree. Bree, what did you think of that? That was awesome. It's just funny.
It's hilarious. I mean, I would cry if I saw it. I would drive it home or something. I don't know.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, 6:30 for pregame. Rich, Bree, I'll be here with them. Derek will be at the arena. Kyle's on vacation, so you have us for the next couple of weeks. That's the plan. Home game on Friday. Away game on Sunday. We'll all be together. The trio here will be together. Sixers Hawks from Atlanta on Sunday. We won't be in Atlanta, but we'll be talking about the game back here at the studio. So
I do love lemon pepper.
You like the lemon pepper? We know a guy.
We have to make that road trip someday.
We know a guy. We know a guy. They might be named after him. So we can do that. Before we get to the roll call, we got to tell everybody on the television side, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to OT at allphly.com. See you there for the rest of the show, especially if you want to hear your name called. Head on over to allphly.com. It is time for the world-famous roll call. Shout out to Raccoon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raccoon.
Absolutely. Live your best life.
Yeah, it's the holidays.
This one's probably going to be a little short because, like an idiot, I completely forgot that Kyle wasn't here and I didn't write down names, so I have to rely on what I can scroll up and see. We'll start off with the guy who is most excited about roll call each and every night. That is Eugene Ross.
What up, Gene?
And I want to say probably the most consistent of the chatters that we have in here. So we appreciate you.
Gene was wondering why the chat was late today. He asked the question, like, where's everybody?
Yeah, and then you got people like Val and Jess showing up in the final 5 minutes. Like, come on.
Come on, ladies.
Do better.
Yeah.
So we'll then go to Val and Jess. I did not see Hedva here, but we will give her a shout out as well as Winona. Hey, ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Smy Guy, Court Jester.
Smoggy.
It is Smoggy. I should have called him Smoggy. DPO, SB Cole, Freddie Powell,
Freddie.
Marcus Blackstock,
What up, Mark?
Ron Burton. Appreciate all of your questions.
Appreciate it, Ronnie.
John Peace,
Peace.
Line Wen.
Always good to see you.
Always our good buddy Vincent Pellegrini.
What up, Vinny?
Let me scroll up and see whether or not I see Devon Givens in the chat. Glad to see him back. He was gone for the last couple days. It wasn't quite the same. Did not was Mom? I didn't see.
She's in there.
Okay.
It's a good show, everybody.
Oh, she chimed in right at the end. Okay. Well, my apologies for missing that. That's about all that I have right now. Because like I said, I completely forgot and didn't jot down any names in the first 3/4 of the show. But I will do better. Well,
next week.
Yeah, because Kyle's going to be gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Next week. Yeah. So everybody, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend and tell another friend. And when you do, make sure you also tell them to hit the bell icon because it sounds like that to let you know that it is, in fact, showtime here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. So for Derek Bree, I'm Devon. We'll be back tomorrow, 6:30 pregame, Sixers Pacers back from the break. Everybody, nobody should be on the injury report. I haven't even checked the injury report to see what they have out there right now. But nobody should be on the injury report. Everybody should be available for tomorrow, but we'll see.
We said Winona, and she showed up, right?
Hey, Nona. Good to see you. But again, no one should be out tomorrow except for Trendon Watford and Kelly Oubre. That's it. Even Janai Broom and Hunter Salas should be with the team. They better be. So for the whole team here, we'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 for pregame. Sixers Pacers. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. Enjoy the rest of the games that haven't being played tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for Sixers Pacers pregame right here on the Sixers PHLY Sixers podcast. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.